What's the worst double standard?
Employers expecting loyalty from employees while provided none in return. Sorry, buddy, loyalty is a two-way street. If you can terminate my employment at a moment's notice, then I reserve the right to leave when I want to.
That my employer expects me to flawlessly come into work on time every day with no excuses allowed, yet our paychecks being late are met with rationalizations and excuses from the payroll department.
I used to work nights by choice, which meant that occasionally I'd knock off work and decide to have a glass of wine before bed. For me, that was about 8 in the morning, when my housemates at the time were getting up to go to their 9-to-5s. The reaction from people was insane. For me, it seemed way weirder to sleep during the day, wake up in the late afternoon, then get dressed and go out for dinner and drinks with them, which basically meant that I was having wine for breakfast. But from their perspective, that made perfect sense. Night work is weird.
Breaks during work. Acceptable for smokers, questionable for non.
My boss has brought me into his office repeatedly to tell me I don't do enough work and that we are all swamped right now. My department is short-staffed. Yet he has no issue sitting at his desk watching movies all day long, yet if I sit for 5 minutes to shoot off an email I am wasting my time.
Person 1 yells at person 2, then gets offended if person 2 yells back at them.
It isn't the worst double standard, far from it, but it's annoying. It's about the workers who start early and leave early versus the workers who start late and leave late. Let's say I start to work at the office at 6 a.m. while my coworker starts at 8 a.m. If I leave at 2 p.m. and he leaves at 4 p.m., we would have accomplished about the same amount of work. For some reason, I'd be the one who's tagged as lazy because I leave the job earlier. It didn't happen to me, but I witnessed it a few times during my career.
Wage theft is larger than all other forms of theft combined, but is not considered a crime. If you steal $100 from the register, you will go to jail, be branded a felon and, potentially, lose your voting rights. If your boss leaves $100 out of your paycheck, you can maybe recoup some portion of that after a protracted civil case at significant personal cost.
From many of the stories I have read here, I'd say that if a bullied kid fights back, the bullied kid is the one who gets punished by the school.
Colleges that teach ethics while ripping the students off in every way possible.
When I was a kid, if I left my toys out and one of my parents stepped on them, I got yelled at and in trouble for not putting my toys away. On the other hand, when my dad left his tools out and I stepped on one, I got yelled at for not watching where I was stepping.
Companies will fire you without notice but expect a 2-week notice when the employee resigns.
If you take maternity leave, your job position is protected and your medical insurance still covers you. You can also use any campus facility at my previous university as you are still considered a student and your scholarships can be put on hold. CERC even pays a stipend. Get cancer and need to take some time off? VALP, jobs not held, your insurance refuses to cover you as you aren't working. You'll also lose your scholarships, and being on a medical leave of absence means you can't use any uni's facility without paying a premium.
Mark Zuckerberg insisting FB users don't care about privacy but spending huge sums for his. Same for most media giants.
If you're rich or from a rich family and commit a crime, it's not a big deal.
Parents can disrespect their children at every turn and insult them, but when the child stands up for themselves and insults back, they're reprimanded for being ungrateful and disrespectful. If you want your beat kids to respect you, offer them the same courtesy. You brought them into this world, they didn't ask to be born, and they shouldn't suffer from your own shortcomings.
So let me get this straight. I can be ruthlessly bullied and harassed for weeks on end. Treated like a piece of garbage by a cockwad, but when I fight back, I get detention. Beep you.
There's a political one that annoys me. Posting a picture of a political cartoon that pokes fun at the other side and chuckling. Then screaming at someone doing the same thing at the expense of your side. If you post a picture making fun of another political party or insulting that party's voters or politicians, then you are tacitly accepting that the reverse is okay.
Child custody for women versus men.
When you get your ass chewed for dumb little stuff, but the person you hate gets away with legitimately worse stuff.
Respect your elders, meanwhile completely disrespect anyone who is younger by age.
When your ex freaks the beep out because you started dating someone new, while they're in a relationship as well. Bonus points for when their relationship is 6+ months old. Some people love to be possessive assholes.
Credit scores are a beep joke. Not having a credit card or lowering the limit on a credit card to be sensible affects your score negatively, and it suggested I take a higher limit and not use it.
The worst double standard in my life right now, I concede this will not be the case for most people, is that people feel it's entirely acceptable to ask us when we are going to have kids, but it's not acceptable for us to be open about the fact we are trying to conceive.
You can carry 2 single-edged knives, but a single double-edged knife is automatically illegal.
Men can't be raped. Beep.
The Catholic Church's continued covering up of its pedophile priests. Anyone who was raised Catholic will know that the most basic teaching in Catholicism is that Jesus died so that our sins can be forgiven as long as we admit to them and ask for forgiveness. So basically, if you do something wrong, admit it and you'll be forgiven. Well, the Church expects its adherents to follow this basic idea, but when it was time for the Church to admit its sins, it just covered them up. It's the most ridiculous double standard and the main reason why I left the Church.
Politicians, everything about them is a double standard. Ban guns, except for me and my bodyguard's walls are bad, let's tear them down. Except for the wall surrounding my $1 million lakefront house with private security. That wall stays up. Let's change our nation's healthcare, but we will make an exception for Congress cause we like our healthcare, we need to be more green. Stop buying SUVs and boats. Except for me, cause I need a private jet, yacht, armored Cadillac WV8 engine, and 3 houses. Beep all politicians.
Getting shamed for wanting to have lots of sex as a woman, but as a man it's expected.
My boyfriend does this thing that drives me endlessly crazy. He has sound-canceling headphones he wears all the time. Which means he can never hear me when I'm trying to talk to him. Sometimes he puts his headphones back on before I'm done talking to him. But when I'm distracted or have headphones or what have you and I can't hear him, it's suddenly a problem. Edit. I appreciate the concern from the replies, but I feel as though there was a miscommunication on my part. All I meant was that he gets annoyed when he tries to talk to me and I can't hear him, but doesn't understand why I get annoyed when the tables are turned. It's not a big thing.
At our job, men have to wear long-sleeved shirts, long pants, and closed shoes in the office no matter the weather. If it's 40°C, you might get away with wearing those 3/4 length chino shorts and a short-sleeve business shirt, but you'll still get a few side eyes. But women can dress like they just walked in from the beach, short skirts, crop tops, sundresses, open-toed sandals, pretty much anything goes. They look cool and fresh in summer, while us poor men are all sweating and flustered in the heat.
Colleges that encourage rely on students to self-teach everything.
Countries that pay billions in aid for others, while their own people are starving.
Tie 4, black people can't be racist, and women can't be sexist.
Pay your rent on the 1st, absolutely no later than the 5th, or there will be late fees. Check account on the 6th of the month, after sending the check a week before. Same balance. Check on the 7th, or 8th, etc. Same balance, those beep aren't depositing the rent check. But I can't pay you past the 5th? Why? Beep your late fees. I should get credit for you not depositing the money. Why demand it by a specific date if you're just going to sit on it? Landlords are stupid.
Sober women can have sex with drunk men and it's perfectly fine, but men get called rapists for having sex with drunk women.
Burning a body. Do it at a crematorium and you're being respectful, but the moment you do it at home you're destroying evidence.
Anyone who says do as I say, not as I do.
It's okay when women hit men.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.